You've spent your life being kind, always showing up, always giving, always putting others before yourself. You've done it out of love, out of duty, and because that's just who you are. But somewhere along the way, you started to feel tired, unappreciated, maybe even invisible. The truth is, kindness without boundaries isn't kindness, it's self-neglect. When you constantly say yes, when you stay quiet to keep the peace, when you carry everyone else's burdens without ever asking for help, you slowly teach the world that your time and energy don't matter. In this video, I want to gently show you 8 common things that feel kind, but are actually making you feel smaller, more exhausted, and less respected. You're not too old to change this. You're not too late. Your voice, your needs, your peace, they still matter, and it's time to start honoring them. Let's begin. There's something many women do without even realizing it, and that is feeling the need to explain themselves every time they say no. You get a call to help out with something, and your gut instinct says, "I don't have the energy today." But before the word no even leaves your lips, your mind rushes to find the right excuse. "I'm sorry, I have an appointment." "I wish I could, but I have so much going on." "Maybe next time." And the truth is, you're not trying to lie. You're trying to avoid guilt. You're trying to soften the blow of not being available. But deep down, there's a belief many of us carry, especially women who were raised to please, to serve, and to smooth things over. And that belief is, my no needs a reason. But here's something I want you to sit with today. You do not owe anyone an explanation for taking care of yourself. You do not need permission to rest. You do not need to explain why your time is precious. When we over-explain, what we're really doing is asking people to approve our boundaries, instead of simply respecting them. And the more we explain, the more room we give people to push back. "Oh, it'll only take a minute." You can do that later, right? Come on, it's not a big deal. Suddenly, your no becomes a negotiation. And before you know it, you've said yes again. Not because you wanted to, but because you didn't want to seem difficult, selfish, or rude. But here's the truth. People who truly care about you don't need a long explanation. They need honesty. And sometimes, that honesty is as simple as, "No, I won't be able to this time." Full stop. Nothing more. The hardest part isn't saying no. It's letting go of the fear that saying no will make you less lovable. You are not unkind for having limits. You're not selfish for protecting your time. You're not rude for choosing rest over obligation. Let that sink in. Every time you allow yourself to say no without apology or performance, you send a quiet but powerful message to the world and to yourself. My needs matter too. And when you believe that, others will begin to believe it too. Maybe you've noticed this about yourself. You're the person people call when their world is falling apart. The friend, the sister, the mother, the listener. And you do it so naturally, with such compassion, because you do care. You've always been someone others could lean on. You don't judge, you don't interrupt, you just let them spill every little heartbreak and frustration. But over time, something shifts. The phone rings and your heart sinks. Another crisis, another hour of listening, another one-way street. You hang up and feel heavy. Not because you're a bad friend, but because you've been carrying too much that doesn't belong to you. And this is where it gets hard, because it feels loving to be there for others. But here's the line no one teaches us to see. There's a difference between support and self-sacrifice. Being a good listener is a beautiful thing. But when you become someone's emotional garbage bin, where they can dump and never clean up, it's no longer a connection. It's an emotional transaction. and you're the one paying the cost. And here's something we need to be honest about. Some people aren't looking for growth. They're looking for attention. They don't want help. They want to rehearse their pain. And they know you'll pick up the phone, because you always do. You start your day calm, grounded, and by lunch, your heart is full of problems that aren't even yours. You carry their chaos home, it lingers, and soon you start believing that your peace comes second to their drama. But you don't have to live like that. It's okay to say, I'm not in the space to talk about this right now. It's okay to gently shift the conversation. That sounds really hard. What are you going to do about it? It's okay to stop being the emergency hotline for people who never check on you in return. This doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a woman who values her emotional energy. Your heart is a gift, but not everyone should have access to it on demand. If you've ever found yourself cooking meals for someone who never says thank you, giving rides without even being offered gas money, or helping with errands while quietly putting off your own needs, then you know this one all too well. You give and give and give, not because you expect anything in return, but because that's who you are. You were raised to believe that generosity is love, that doing things for others makes you valuable, that giving is what good women do. But let me ask you this gently. When was the last time someone did something for you without you asking? If that question stings a little, you're not alone. Many women in their 50s, 60s, and beyond have spent decades giving and not realizing that they've surrounded themselves with people who have quietly come to expect their generosity rather than appreciate it. And here's what happens over time. You begin to feel used. Not dramatically, just little moments of disappointment that pile up. You wait for someone to remember your birthday the way you remembered theirs. You hope someone will offer to help when you're struggling, like you've helped them. But often it doesn't happen. And when it does, it feels like an obligation, not a true gesture. It's not that giving is bad. It's that giving without balance becomes a burden, and you start to resent the very people you wanted to love. True generosity should feel expansive, like something that fills both hearts, not empties one to feed the other. And yes, some people will call you too nice, but what they really mean is too easy to take from. You are allowed to be giving, but you're also allowed to expect reciprocity. And if someone disappears the moment you need something back, that's not a friend. That's a taker. From now on, give where you are also valued. Help where there is mutual care. And never again confuse being a good person with being someone's free service. It often starts with the smallest of phrases. Sorry to bother you, or sorry, I'm just rambling, or sorry, I didn't mean to be a burden. You say it when you call someone. You say it when you speak up. Sometimes you even say it when you just walk into a room. But have you ever stopped to ask, why am I apologizing for simply being here? For many women, especially those raised to be polite, pleasant, and accommodating, saying sorry becomes second nature. We use it like punctuation. We use it to shrink ourselves before anyone else can do it for us. We apologize preemptively for having needs, for having feelings, for taking up space. But every time you say sorry when there's nothing to be sorry for, something subtle but powerful happens. You chip away at your own sense of worth. You signal, not just to others, but to yourself, that your presence is inconvenient, that your opinions are interruptions, that your voice is somehow too much. And over the years, that pattern builds. You don't speak up when something hurts you. You don't correct someone when they interrupt you. You don't ask for help, because asking feels like a burden. But I want you to hear this clearly and fully. You have nothing to apologize for. Not for having a voice, not for needing space, not for taking care of yourself, not for being human. There's a kind of invisible self-erasure that happens when we constantly say sorry for things that aren't wrong. It teaches others that your needs can be ignored, and it teaches you that your needs are too much. Let's be clear, true apologies have their place. When we hurt someone, when we've made a mistake, yes, apologize with humility and heart. But when you're apologizing simply for being yourself, that's not kindness. That's a quiet form of self-rejection. So the next time you catch yourself about to say sorry for something harmless, pause. Try saying thank you instead. Instead of sorry I'm late, say thank you for waiting. Instead of sorry I'm talking too much, say thank you for listening. Instead of sorry I need help, say thank you for being here. Shifting from apology to gratitude doesn't just change how others see you. It changes how you see yourself. Because the truth is, you are allowed to take up space in this world, not because you've earned it, not because you've done enough, but because you are here. And that, in itself, is enough. It's such a quiet habit, so subtle you might not even notice it anymore. You say something in a group, then glance around to see if anyone nods. You share a photo or post online and feel a little disappointed if no one reacts. You hold back your real opinion because you're not sure how it'll land. You smile when something hurts. You agree to things you don't believe. You laugh at jokes that aren't funny. Why? Because you want to be liked. You want to be accepted. You want to belong. And those are natural desires. We all want to feel connected. But somewhere along the way, the need for connection can become a hunger for validation, especially from people who may never give it. And here's the heartbreaking truth. The more you chase approval, the more you lose touch with yourself. You start performing, being a version of yourself that fits the room. You start questioning your instincts, wondering if your feelings are too much. You start relying on other people's opinions to decide if you're good enough, smart enough, lovable enough. But here's something to remember, especially as you enter the later chapters of your life. Your worth was never meant to be measured by other people's reactions. If someone disapproves of your voice, that doesn't make your truth less true. If someone ignores your efforts, that doesn't mean you're invisible. If someone withholds affection or attention unless you earn it, that's not love, that's control. And yet, so many of us, especially women who've spent years putting others first, keep bending, softening, shrinking, just to make others more comfortable. But let me offer you a gentle invitation. Stop trying to prove yourself to people who have already decided not to see you. Stop giving your energy to those who only show up when it's convenient. Stop asking people who don't value you to define your value. You don't need to be everyone's favorite. You just need to be your own anchor. The more you live in alignment with your truth, the less you'll crave applause. This doesn't mean being rude. It means being real. It means honoring your voice even if it shakes. It means standing firm even if someone walks away. It means finally trusting that your approval is enough. When you stop performing for people who don't matter, you create space for those who do. And you begin the quiet, beautiful journey of becoming someone who respects herself, deeply, unapologetically, and without conditions. You probably don't even think twice about it. The phone rings, you answer. A friend needs help, you rearrange your day. Someone asks for a favor, you say yes before they finish the sentence. And it's not because you're a pushover. It's because you're dependable, caring, generous. You've built your life on being the one people can count on. And that's a beautiful thing. until it starts costing you more than it gives back. Here's the quiet danger. When you're always available, people stop appreciating your presence. It's human nature. We tend to value what feels rare, what takes effort, what has clear boundaries. But when someone knows you'll always say yes, they stop asking if you want to. They assume, they expect, they take. And little by little, you start to feel like an option, not a priority. You cancel your own plans to help someone else. You answer texts late at night, even when you're exhausted. You say, it's no big deal, but deep down, it kind of is. And here's the hardest part to admit. Sometimes, you keep being available not because you want to, but because you're afraid of what might happen if you're not. Will they stop calling? Will they think you don't care? Will they pull away? But here's the truth, and it might sting at first, but it's freeing. Real relationships do not depend on your constant availability. If someone only values you when you're on call, that's not connection, that's convenience. You're allowed to take a day or a week to rest. You're allowed to miss a phone call. You're allowed to say, I can't right now. And if someone gets upset when you prioritize your own well-being, that tells you something important about the nature of that relationship. Setting boundaries around your time isn't about becoming distant. It's about reclaiming your dignity. It's about giving your yes from a place of fullness, not obligation. It's about remembering that your time is your life, and it's okay to protect it. So the next time you feel that automatic yes rising up, pause. Ask yourself, do I want to say yes, or do I feel like I have to? Let your answer guide you, not your guilt. Because you are not here to be everyone's emergency backup plan. You are here to live a life that feels whole, balanced, and deeply yours. There is a kind of silence that doesn't come from peace. It comes from fear. And if you're like many women I know, you've learned to stay quiet, not because you have nothing to say, but because saying it might cause tension. You bite your tongue at the dinner table. You nod and smile when someone says something that hurts you. You tell yourself, it's not worth the argument. Just let it go. But here's the cost of that silence. Every time you don't speak up when something matters to you, every time you pretend it doesn't bother you just to keep the mood light, a little piece of your voice fades. And over time, that voice, the one that used to be so clear, so strong, becomes a whisper inside your own life. You might think, I'm just being the bigger person. I'm keeping things calm. And maybe you are. But what happens when that calm becomes resentment? What happens when the people around you never actually know how you feel? Because you've made it your mission to always appear agreeable, you begin to lose your center. You begin to question your own reactions. And worst of all, you begin to believe that your discomfort is just the price you have to pay to keep others happy. Let me tell you something important. Keeping the peace is not the same as having peace. Peace that costs you your truth is not peace. It's performance. It's pretending. You are allowed to have opinions. You're allowed to say, that didn't sit right with me. You're allowed to express boundaries without being labeled as difficult or dramatic. The people who truly love you want to know how you feel, not just the parts that are easy to hear. And yes, some people might be uncomfortable when you start speaking up. They might not be used to you having a voice. They might even try to guilt you back into silence. But that's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you're finally doing something different. Being honest about what you need, what you feel, what you believe. It's not selfish. It's sacred. It's how we connect with others in real ways, not just polite ones. So if you've spent years keeping the peace at your own expense, I want you to know this. It's never too late to speak. even if your voice trembles, even if your heart races, even if no one else in the room agrees. Because your truth matters, not just for the sake of being heard, but for the sake of being whole. You are allowed to have opinions. You are allowed to say, "That didn't sit right with me." You are allowed to express boundaries without being labeled as difficult or dramatic. The people who truly love you want to know how you feel, not just the parts that are easy to hear. And yes, some people might be uncomfortable when you start speaking up. They might not be used to you having a voice. They might even try to guilt you back into silence. But that's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you're finally doing something different. Being honest about what you need, what you feel, what you believe. It's not selfish. It's sacred. It's how we connect with others in real ways, not just polite ones. So if you've spent years keeping the peace at your own expense, I want you to know this: it's never too late to speak. Even if your voice trembles, even if your heart races, even if no one else in the room agrees. Because your truth matters, not just for the sake of being heard, but for the sake of being whole. The truth is, real love does not require performance. Real love, deep, nourishing, lasting love, is not conditional. It's not a reward for doing everything right. It's not something you chase by shrinking yourself. And yes, there are people who will love you more when you're easy to control, easy to predict, easy to please. But that's not real love. That's convenience. So what does real love look like? It looks like being accepted even when you say no. It looks like being appreciated even when you're not available. It looks like someone listening, really listening, when you speak from the heart. And most importantly, it looks like you loving yourself enough to stop begging for crumbs of affection. You have given so much, and maybe no one ever told you that you deserve to receive just as deeply. That you deserve love that isn't earned through exhaustion, sacrifice, or silence, but simply because you exist. So here's the shift. Stop trying to prove your worth to people who benefit from your insecurity. Start holding space for the kind of love that doesn't ask you to be smaller. And if you don't see that love around you yet, start by offering it to yourself. Speak to yourself with gentleness. Rest without guilt. Say no without explanation. And remember that love, true, lasting love, is not something you buy with behavior. It's something that begins the moment you stop running and start coming home. To you. If you recognized yourself in any of these 8 habits, I want you to know something right now. From one wise woman to another, there is no shame in it. There is no weakness in having loved so deeply that you forgot to save a little love for yourself. There is only strength, the quiet, beautiful strength it takes to unlearn patterns you've carried for decades and to choose a new way forward. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too late. In fact, this moment, this exact moment right here, might be the most powerful one of your life, because now you know. Now you see it. And once you see it, you cannot go back to pretending you don't. The truth is, you have always been worthy, not for what you do or how much you give or how many people you please. You are worthy because you are here, still standing, still growing, still learning. And that, my friend, is extraordinary. Let the rest of your life be the chapter where you start showing up for yourself with the same tenderness, care, and devotion you've shown everyone else. Let this be the season where your yes comes from joy, not guilt. Where your no comes from clarity, not fear. Where your voice returns, steady, calm, unapologetic. And if people say, "You've changed," you smile and say, "Yes, I have, finally." So if this message touched something in you, don't just click away. pause. Breathe. Let it land. And if you feel ready, truly ready, to start honoring yourself the way you always should have been, I hope you'll stay with me on this journey. This channel isn't here to chase trends or give quick fixes. It's here to walk beside you, step by step, as you reclaim the pieces of yourself that got lost along the way. In the next video, I'll be sharing 5 gentle phrases that help you set boundaries with grace. Phrases that protect your peace without burning bridges. But for now, I want to leave you with this. You are not here to be everyone's answer. You are here to be your own beginning. Take your time. Be kind to yourself. You've earned it.